Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and today I'm going to be taking another look at Star Citizen. Now, Star Citizen has had a couple of updates in the couple of weeks I was away. They added Capture the Core as a new games mode, and they also added a new model to the hangar in the form of the M50 Interceptor, which is basically a super go-fast ship that is an engine with a cockpit attached and not much else. Now, that's all very interesting, but you still can't fly the M50 at this time. Anyway, on Friday, they had this big presentation at Gamescom, and, well, it revealed a whole lot of interesting things worth talking about. And they revealed the new Constellation models, which of course are now available to buy for those people that want to spend more money backing this game. So this is the Constellation. This is the default Constellation that you got, or you get, if you bought the Rear Admiral package or if you bought the Constellation. Now, I don't know if you remember, but the Constellation is, or was, essentially the premium package. It came with all the bells and whistles, all the boxed copy of the game. I believe the early versions included a signed copy. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it included a little model of the Constellation as well. And the ship itself was like a feature list culled from, sci-fi dreams. It was supposed to be the big spaceship with a crew of 4. It had a little support fighter, it had guns, it had living space, it was smuggling, it could do everything. It was the Mary Sue of spaceships. And in that way, it was actually kind of like Star Citizen. It was like, oh, should we have this feature? Yes, let's have this feature. How are we going to fit it together? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Well, they figured out how to put all these features into a single spaceship when they launched the hangar module. And the original layout was immediately criticized as being somewhat poorly designed, let's say. It had a number of problems with a basic functionality. For example, primarily, there was a little support fighter. It could launch its own spacecraft called the P-52 Merlin to act as like a support ship. Now, in the original version, which was launched in August last year, the Constellation had the Merlin sitting underneath this thing here, right? So this would come down and out would come the little space fighter. And the only problem with that was that was also the way the cargo would have to get unloaded. See, so this is me bringing down the cargo lander here. Now they've got rid of that. That makes a little less sense, so they've actually turned this into a proper cargo lift, which means you don't need to unload the snub fighter every time you decide to unload your cargo. Instead, they've moved the fighter onto this rig back here, which is like a landing clamp or something with a pressurized access tunnel to get down here by the looks of things. This is the P-52 Merlin. I'm pretty sure the name is derived from the fact that the P-51 used a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, the same kind of engine that was used on the Spitfire, of course. And yeah, let's come out this way. We can't unfortunately climb up these ladders at this time. You can actually muck around by loading stuff into this and it'll all bump around like crazy. I might show you some video of that. We'll use the elevator instead to get inside the spacecraft. There we go. Climbing up into the main living area. Now, the main living area has been rearranged. Previously, the bathrooms and the beds were back behind this door, right? You'd go through this door to the cargo area, and at the back there, that would be where your sleeping area was, and the door furthest away took you into the showers and toilets. Well, that doesn't make so much sense because this is where you'll be living, and that's where you'll be storing your cargo, and, if you have a pressurization situation, it would suck to make sure, to have to deal with making sure your entire hull was not leaking air before you could go to the bathroom. So these are the new beds, and they look a bit shiny, I think. Let me just get that. Yeah, I've no idea what's going on there, but it doesn't look very comfortable to sleep on. Wait a second, they've got... Hold on. Oh, that's very odd. The ladder shot through there. The animations are still a little work in progress. These are, of course, the bathroom facilities. There's the shower, where you can, of course, get cleaned up on your long space cruises. This is the space toilet, which you can, of course, use because space toilet functionality was strongly desired by certain parts of the community. so they can recreate those moments from the Apollo program where poop was floating around in the cabin and stuff like that. This is, of course, the breakfast area, which still works as before. You can sit down and have some food there. And you have the turrets, which you're supposed to be able to sit in, but of course they're not hooked up correctly right now. We do at least have... there we go. These seats, of course, are the pilot and co-pilot seats and everything. Those work, but I'm not going to sit in them for now. Okay, so let's move through to the back of this spaceship. So this is, of course, the cargo area with the lift deployed down. We have airlocks on the side. Those are pretty much in the same position. They didn't really change the exterior model of the base Constellation. They did change the name. The base Constellation is now called the Andromeda, obviously named after Greek mythology, the daughter of Cassiopeia. This is the access hatch to get down into the Merlin, and if I do this just right, so with a bit of mucking around, we can see the interior of the transfer tube with the text reversed on one side. This is clearly one of the reasons why it's not hooked up as an area yet. And you can get inside the cockpit of the P-52 Merlin. It has these joysticks on either side, obviously. They've swapped these around because your hands are swapped around. It's not because they're simply mirroring chunks of the control panel, are they? We have, buttons and shiny text and displays and everything. This is where you will be flying your little spacecraft from, assuming you have the Andromeda. So let's talk about the three other variants. Other than the Andromeda, you have the Taurus, which is the budget cargo model. It loses a whole bunch of hardware. It loses the fighter, but it gains cargo space. Then you have the Aquila, which is the exploration model. It loses the space fighter. It gains a bunch of extra hardware in terms of for exploration, and it gains a rover, which is interesting because they hadn't really been talking about making planetary surface roving a big part of the game until now, really. And then finally you have the Phoenix, which is the bling bling version with wood accents, hot tub, and it has a little support fighter and a rover of its own. Now, I'm not convinced that any current Constellation owners should really upgrade to any of these variants. In particular, the Taurus is actually a step down. You spend $5 and you get a worse ship. However, it is actually cheaper than the Freelancer Max, which is the cargo variant of the Freelancer. And if you have such a one and you don't have lifetime insurance or anything, there's a really strong argument that you should maybe melt that down and just upgrade to the Taurus, so you'll have more cargo space and ultimately more room to upgrade your ship to something bigger and more awesome. The Aquila is the one featured in the very flashy commercial, of course. I would say suffers from the fact that we don't really know what the rover is going to be doing yet. We haven't really got an official gameplay module that would make it useful, so it's of questionable utility when you're paying actually for an upgrade. However, I really do like the changes to its design. In particular, the curved cockpit looks a whole lot more stylish than the default Constellation. And then there's the Phoenix. I'm not sure what kind of person could really justify the extra cost for the space bling bling. Well, in a clear case of going above and beyond, I decided to shell out, using some of the money I've made from covering Star Citizen, I decided to shell out the cash for a Phoenix upgrade and apply it to my Rear Admiral package. So what have we got here? Well, it's all shiny and white and black. We have a nice big window on top where you can see down into the kind of boardroom chill out area. There's leather and wood accents throughout the interior. Look at that leather seating, fancy for the people that have more money than sense. It loses one of the turrets by the looks of things. We have the top turret, but if I go down, we don't have a turret in this space, so I'm kind of concerned about that. I've apparently taken a downgrade in firepower, but we have this wonderful boardroom area. Let's take a quick look around. Actually, let's run forward. The sleeping areas look way more stylish, and we have this fantastic art. The animations aren't hooked up, so I guess that's the shower and that's the toilet, so not so much privacy this time. You can still imagine what people look like when they're naked through those things, although maybe they'll be able to fix that. At least you can sit in these seats. Those animations are hooked up. Well, yeah. wood accents in the floor there for the people that value style. Apparently the breakfast bar is not coming down. See, we got one of those bits of art there, and nope, the beds don't actually work either. But yeah, this is the real reason you would buy this, because you've got the bar with your little cooking area there, and another bar so you can entertain your friends. Although these are painted on bottles, I would like to think that if I'm spending that much money on a spaceship, I would get real bottles. Airlocks are still in the same place, obviously. Boardroom table so you can have all your meetings about ruling the galaxy. Little lounge area where you can chill out and watch the people in the hot tub. Yes, there's a hot tub built for 8 here. Well, they call it a jacuzzi, but we all know it's the same thing. Bed for, well, more entertaining, I guess, and, you know, alien relations and things like that. Bathroom is on that side, and, oh, there's nothing on that side. But we have 2 pieces of art. I wonder if that's the secret storage space which they advertise, therefore isn't secret. I'm not sure what they're thinking with advertising their secret storage spaces, but that's what's going on there. So this is, of course, the way down to the P-72 Archimedes, which is presumably an upgrade, given that it's a bigger number, but we don't know. It also comes with a rover as well. Warning: in case of accidental loss of air pressure, stay calm, act quickly, find something to grab hold on yourself. Wear oxygen masks found on nearest emergency exit. So that is the Constellation Phoenix, and I'm not sure it's really an upgrade that's worth it, although time will tell. It definitely has upgraded equipment, and of course, if you buy the package, you get some hangar bling in the form of a grand piano, as I understand, although since it's not in the hangar at this time, I presume that it's not yet added. Anyway, speaking of the hangar, on Friday part of the presentation showed off the new hangar designs. They've redesigned the whole room system so that you're not just going to have a hangar that extends off into infinity anymore. You're going to have a much better way of hooking your hangars together to give yourself whatever you look. They showed off, of course, the new versions of all the hangars and the asteroid hangar, and that will be in version 0.9, which should be released in, and I use finger quotes here, 2 weeks. Now, 0.9 actually is quite a big update by the sound of things. It's going to add space racing, so you'll be able to fly your M50 and Origin 350R and try to finally figure out whose is the fastest. You will be able to, of course, see your new hangars. They have revamped the control scheme to allow 6 degrees of freedom finally, so maybe we'll actually get some much more entertaining combat in Arena Commander. And speaking of Arena Commander, they of course added the Capture the Core mode while I was away. And this was kind of a surprise update. It didn't coincide with any particular patch. Oh, he has stolen my core. Let me go after him. I believe he's stolen my core. I'm going to shoot him anyway because he's on the other team. Incoming missile! Evaded. And I don't think I have any missiles at this point. And, oh, brilliant! Dispatched of the hostile with my core. Okay, now let's turn this... Oh, wow! Friendly core returned. Yes, we're really doing this. So yeah, it is just capture the flag in space. And we just need to capture the core from these things and take it to the other side. Once again, somebody has it. Let's go after him. He is in a Hornet, and a Hornet is no match for my Origin 300i because I am way faster. And I'm still using the Omnisky lasers, which I've figured out how to pronounce properly this time. That's the problem with like made up names. So nobody knows how to pronounce them, especially if they can't read like me. And did he get my core? He got the core. I think he took my core. Well, I'm gonna steal his core now. Ready? Turning around. Have I got it? Did I get it? No, I didn't get it. What the heck? Oh, I gotta fly right through the middle there, I guess. Crikey. That is harder than it looks. Okay. Turn around using full boost. And I've picked up the core. Great. Now, full speed. Look at everyone flying past me. And now I'm pulling so many G's I'm actually starting to black out. A little bit of evasive maneuvering here because of course I can't use strafe commands. There we go. I'm not getting much in the way of incoming fire. Oh, missile coming in though. Flare. Successful. And let's get in there. Boba Fett's killing things, and core captured. Yeah, that is the essence of Capture the Core, and frankly, it's, you know, it's a lot of fun. It's nice to have a team-based game, because that works better. Co-op Vandal Swarm is supposed to be coming in the next version of the Arena Commander. We'll see that. Oh! Apparently I got headshot. So the next update does look like it's going to have a lot of stuff in it, and they actually showed off a whole lot at their live stream. You should definitely go and watch their live stream to actually see all this stuff. And of course there's a commercial for the Constellation, there's fly rounds of the Constellation, there's a racing trailer, and there's an FPS teaser. Frankly, the FPS teaser looks like it's just a bit of pre-rendered footage, but at least with CryEngine, I'm pretty confident that they will have a solid base to build a first-person shooter. So I'm not too worried about what they might produce in first-person shooter land. At least they're finally hammering CryEngine to enough shape that it seems to be flyable. See, the interesting thing about Star Citizen is it's not a case of success or failure. It's clearly succeeded by raising $50 million worth of crowdfunding. There's really now a question of how little failure they can get away with, because, you know, how many things are going to fail to be implemented to people's satisfaction. How many people are going to be unhappy with what they paid for? And, you know, that's really in the hands of the developers, and we'll see. I think that it is definitely going to continue, and I'm much happier having seen their presentation. They did show off multi-crewed spaceships working, although the demo did feel like it might have been held together by, you know, duct tape and baling wire. But that's totally acceptable. I think what we've had a lot of delays, but I think we are going to be seeing less and less delays now. The game is really going to start growing out. Although this does look like this guy is not going to die. That is very strange. Is he just sitting in his cockpit there? I'm still doing damage to him. Oh, there, finally. There he is. Oh, yes. Anyway, I'm excited to see what Point 9 brings. I'm hoping that the control system is improved and I'll really finally be able to start using my joystick. But we'll see that hopefully in 2 weeks. Until then, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.